Okay, I think we're back. First video seemed to work, but then I started the next one and I forgot to plug in my microphone, so you can catch up here. Just a reminder, if you need to pause the video and write anything or to solve a problem, just remember you have that power. Okay, so stuff I already wrote. Cross product. Instead of A dot B, going to be A cross B. You take a vector times a vector and you get a vector product, just like we set up here. Now, something about cross products, the direction of our vector product is going to be perpendicular to both of the original vectors. So if we have a vector in the I hat direction, vector in either j hat, positive or negative direction, the product is going to be either in or out of the page, okay, because that in our k hat direction, because that is perpendicular to both of those vectors. So heads up, we're going to be using all three dimensions here. I'm going to jump in just with an example to show you how to solve these. Now, some of you may already know how to do these cross products. In that case, feel free to jump ahead if you already know how to make the matrix and all that. But I'm going to go through the whole process. So I'm going to give you two vectors. Vector A, we're going to call, say, 3 I hat, 5 j hat, 7 k hat. We're going to have another vector, 2 I hat minus 6 j hat plus 4 k hat. These are just going to be unitless vectors so we can get the procedure down. The first thing we're going to do is make a matrix, a little grid. Okay, because we're going to take A cross B. So that means we're going to put A on the first row, B on the second row. And then we're going to list our I hat, j hat, and k hat values. So for A, that'll be 3, 5, negative 7, 2, negative 6, and 4. So you just write them out. But do make sure you put those in the right order. Now, we're going to add an extra I hat column at the end. I don't know if they teach you this in your fancy pants math classes. Let me fix this real quick while I'm talking. But this, I find this way easier rather than having to remember to switch directions of my crosses. So that'll make sense in a moment. So I'm going to add another I hat column over here. Same values. We're just taking this column and repeating it over here. I'll show you why. All right, next, we're going to do the crosses. So we're going to figure out the product in each dimension. And only the values, write that out. So we're going to determine product in each dimension. And so only the values perpendicular to each dimension actually affect the product. Oh, geez, the lights turned off. Hang on, there we go. Okay, affect product. So what that relates to is like when we were doing, parallel axis theorem, and we had the, couple, the rods, one in each dimension. If it's rotating about this axis, well, this rod here does not affect our moment of inertia, okay? Because that is parallel to the axis. So that's just in context, a way to think of how only the values perpendicular affect the actual product. So what we're going to do, we're going to go the direction, we're going to go this number times, so we're going to multiply this number minus this number times this number. Okay, trust me here. Let's see it in action. It'll all make sense. A cross B. So what we do, so for the I hat direction, we don't care about the I hat column because only the values perpendicular affect our I hat product. So we don't even care about that. We just care about the J and K. So we're going to take this number times this number. So that's going to be A j hat number times B's k hat number. I'm going to write this all out. Okay, so that's this direction. And then subtract this number, so A's k hat times B's j hat. Okay, so that's that line there. That's what I mean by that. I'm going to write out this whole equation, but eventually it's going to be super easy. I'm just going to write it out so we see it all, how it works. I'm going to skip the j hat for a second. Let's just go to k hat. So now k hat dimension doesn't matter. I just care about I and j. So we're going to go A's I hat times B's j hat minus, okay, so that was this arrow here, minus our other diagonal, so that's A's j hat times B's I hat. Running off the page. All right, now the j hat direction is weird. Not only because if you cover this up, you're having to skip across, but without our extra column, you actually don't, you do the opposite direction. So you go here, this number times this number minus this number times this number. And rather than remembering to, skip the middle and change directions, by moving this I hat column over here, you just do the same thing, the same pattern. And so what you're doing, you're taking A's k hat times B's I hat minus, so you did that, minus A's I hat times B's j hat value. Okay, so by shifting that column over here, we can just keep that pattern. And I find that easier to remember. Okay, so that's all long and gross, but it's really not that bad. So in reality, so we take, for I hat, 5 times 4, 20, minus negative 7 times negative 6, 42. That's my I hat value. Okay, j hat. So now we're going to go here. So negative 7 times 2, 3 times 4. So we're minusing 3 times 4. That's our j hat value. And then plus k hat. I'm going to cover up that and just do those two. So that's 3 times negative 6 minus 5 times 2. That's our k hat value. So our final answer for A crossed with B is negative 22 I hat minus 26 j hat minus 28 k hat. That's it. So in the end, it's really not a tricky process. Let's do one more to practice. So we'll have a vector that's 10 I hat plus 5 j hat plus 3 k hat. And here is our B vector. So if that made sense to you, go ahead and pause the video, see if you can set up the matrix, set up your other I column, and do your crosses. Okay, go ahead and try it on your own, and then you can just skip ahead to the final answer and see how you did. I'm going to go through the process. Okay, making the matrix. So I'm doing A cross B. So I, J, K, 10, 5, 3, 7, negative 2, 4. A cross B is going to be in the I hat direction, 5 times 4 minus 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. I'm going to add my other I hat column. That's going to be negative 20 minus 35. Nope, it isn't. Shoot. Sorry, this is going to stop in 5 seconds. So we'll pause there. Shoot.